Welcome to another tutorial from Bellwood Public Library. Today we're going to take a look at Hoopla Digital. If we scroll down on our homepage, bellwoodlibrary.org, to the Read and Listen Online button, Hoopla Digital will be the second option. As I mentioned, this was the Read and Listen Online section, so that is what you can do with Hoopla. They do have ebooks, comics, and audiobooks. They also have music, movies, and television. We have some links. So the first one right here is the link that you can access from a computer. And then there are also links if you need it for your mobile device, the App Store, Google Play Store, or even through Amazon. You are able to download the titles to your device for offline playback if you are going to be somewhere that doesn't have a good or any Wi-Fi or internet connection. Currently, our patrons are allowed 8 checkouts a month. There are no holds or anything like that on Hoopla. Everything is simultaneously available to everybody. On the first of the month, your checkouts will reset and you will have 8 more titles that you can borrow. This is their website, hoopladigital.com, all one word, and I've just hit the Get Started Today button. So the first thing I'm going to do here is put in an email address. This is what you will use to log in to Hoopla every time. So you do want to make sure that it's an email address you will be able to, that you use and that you'll remember. You will also use this password, so again, make sure it's something that you are able to remember. Going to start by looking for my library next. So it has found Bellwood, and I'm going to hit next. And now the last thing you will need is your library card and PIN. That is going to be the PIN associated with your account through the library. If you ever use our computers with your card, or if you use the catalog and place items on hold, that'll be what that 4-digit PIN is. If you need any assistance in resetting your PIN, please give us a call and we'll tell you what you need to do that. Last thing you do is click Sign Me Up, and I believe you will also receive an email to verify your email address. That's it, you're good to go, and you can start borrowing some items. Switching over really quick over to a different window now, where I am logged in to my personal Hoopla account. This is the first screen you'll see once you log in. This is sort of your dashboard. They call it My Hoopla. You can always access it back here up at the top on the left. There's a My Hoopla section. These are all the things you can access that are specifically about your account. So this is that page we're on right now. This is going to be everything that I have currently checked out, the things I have marked as a favorite, and then my reading history for everything I have previously checked out. This slider at the top you will see on all the pages when you're browsing through the different collections. Right now, since I'm on my dashboard, it is showing me a collection of everything that they have and that they're featuring this month. However, if I am under the audiobooks, for example, I would only be seeing images for collections and titles that are specifically audiobooks. So right now we just had something for titles leaving in September, and there was something for the passing for Ruth Bader Ginsburg as well. So like I said, this is just things that are currently highlighted on Hoopla. Maybe they're about some sort of current topic that may be happening. You can go ahead and scroll through these and take a look at these. They do change. And so you'll always be able to find some new content just through there. Scrolling down further on this My Hoopla page, we have the currently borrowed section, which is letting me know I have one more title this month that I'm allowed to check out. And then it's also showing me the 2 titles that I have checked out and how much longer I have them for. For ebooks, audiobooks, comics, music, you will have the full standard 3 weeks for all of those. However, movies and television, you will only have 3 days to watch that title. Specifically for television, that is because each episode is counted as one borrow. That's the way that Hoopla has it set up, so you would watch one episode and that counts for one borrow. So total of 8 episodes a month could be what you would watch. So that's partially why you only get 3 days for that one episode. Further down, there's a recommendation section based on things that I've previously read, authors that are similar, titles that are by that author as well, things that are in that genre. They'll put together a list that I can click on and see those recommendations. And then, of course, a link to my favorites, which we'll take a look at a little bit later. Hoopla uses the favorite system. If you're just browsing around trying to find different things, you can mark as many things as you want as a favorite, so then you can go back later and read what you're interested in or watch it. You can also, if you're following a series, you can mark part of the series as part of your favorite so that you can quickly find it when you want to read the next title in the series. We have our standard search bar up here. We could change this from being anything or everything, I should say, into any of the collections that they have. So it'll only show you options that are for these collections, as well as you could also just search by a publisher or author, for example, or if you knew what the series was called, if it had a specific name. Once you just click on that search bar right there, it'll show up with some trending searches. These are searches that are popular. Either they are constantly being searched, or maybe it's a title that has recently come out, like in the case of Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes or The Bear. Both of those are pretty recent titles that people are obviously searching for. But then, of course, there's things like Black Panther, Pete the Cat, and Percy Jackson, which are just popular searches on their own that you could click on, and it'll take you to results that they have related to that option. There are search delimitators on the left side over here. If you searched for Black Panther but then realized, oh hey, I'm getting audiobooks and music, I really only wanted those comics, you could do that here by just choosing comics, and it'll change your listings. And then just clicking that X right there will remove that and show you everything once again. You can choose any of these delimitators that you like so that you will see fewer options. If it's a section that you're visiting a lot and so you only want to see things that have recently been added, you can do that as well. On the right side, if you do want to see everything, but you want to see it sorted by that user rating or by its release date, you can do that over here. You are also able to just put in whatever you're looking for. You can go with a topic, for example. So if you're looking for cookbooks, you can see here that it's giving me the categories. So it's giving me the ebook category of cooking. So I could just click on that. And now I'm in that category. There's even some more categories here I can click on and see even further things that I might be looking for. If I ever wanted to go back, I could just simply click the one back and see that. And so again, if I were to just click that categories word, now I'm in that ebook section, and now I can see all of the categories that they have in the ebook section. Hoopla creates some specialized categories each month that are highlighted, but then there's also certain things that are constant. For example, like the cooking, which we just saw. They also have a lot of stuff available at the moment for anyone that's doing the virtual learning. There's some resources for parents as well for students. If you have a younger child that's before school at home still with you, they have a section for 1,000 books before kindergarten. So they have a collection there of books that you can borrow and read with your child. There's also, again, just the basic categories you would expect, like fiction, for example. And then if you were to click on that, you have all your further options, like science fiction and mystery and magical realism. Those will all be here. They do also create some sections for more authors that are not from a different background, maybe. So we've got Asian stories, Jewish stories is right here, Latina and Latino stories. I believe the African American section is actually under fiction, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, under fiction is where you'll find that. So these will be the titles for that. You can also just go into any of the sections by browsing. So if we were to go into audiobooks, one of the features here, I'll go ahead and click on a title so we can look at what that looks like. So we have the title and the year it was released. Here is our author. And then a feature of audiobooks, obviously, is that there's a narrator. So this is the person that narrated the book. And if we click on their name, we'll be able to see if they narrated anything else. If you really enjoyed their narration and want to see what else they may have read, you can go through the list here and see the other titles. You have your basic synopsis that you'll see. This is letting us know, and this is clickable, that this is something that's a Christian fiction title. It's available for 21 days. And down here we have some similar authors to the author that we found for this title. So it's letting me know if I've read any of these authors before, I might like this book because of that similarity. This is the star rating and how many people have rated it. Then, of course, we have that borrow option. Like I said, you'll never see anything that says place hold. You'll always just be able to automatically borrow. This is where that heart is for your favorites. Clicking on it will fill it in. Unclicking it will take it back off your favorites list. That's all you need to do. You can just go into any of these sections. So now we've switched over to movies. I will mention for the movies that it's going to be movies that have been out for a few years at least. You'll very rarely find things that are super recent. For example, this is here and it is recent, but it is more of a smaller indie project. So it is available. There are occasionally newer movies, but it will be something that's either a documentary or a smaller movie. It won't necessarily be any of those big budget movies that you know of, or anything like that. So it will take a few years for the movies to come onto Hoopla. But if you're interested, they are available. You do have 3 days to watch the movies. They have sections just like everything else. They do have quite a bit for both those older titles, say they came out in the 80s or 90s. And then there's even a full classics section if you are looking for true classic titles. You can go here and scroll through, or choose any of these further categories as well, but scroll through and see the different older titles that they have available. As I mentioned, with the television, you do only get per episode, so I'll show how that actually looks. If you were to click on the title, you'll notice there's no borrow option right here. Instead, it is beneath every episode. So there's a borrow option for episode 1, 2, 3, and so on. You can find, for example, this only has 6 episodes to this season, so you could feasibly watch this season before your month is up, and you'd actually still have 2 checkouts remaining. So it is possible to find miniseries or shorter productions that might be able to have checkouts that work with watching it. Here is the music. Works the same way as actual releases for music. They are released on Friday. And they do have actually new releases that come out. They don't get necessarily every single release, but they do get quite a few new releases. If you wanted to search just, for example, in the last 6 months, things that have been added, you could go through here and see some of the different titles that maybe you might be interested in some of these for a checkout. And you do just have to go and again borrow it. And music is only available for 7 days. But again, you can just go and borrow it right back again. There's no limit on that. You can, once it's returned, which it automatically will return, you can reborrow it if you're still listening to the record. The other thing I want to mention for comics, and you can do this with other sections as well. They do have where you can search by the publisher, or in the case of movies and TV, the production company. However, with comics, they specifically highlight that they have a publisher's section available. So with comics, obviously there's DC and Marvel, but you could go to any of these and be able to click on the publisher, which will further open that up. And so first we can see these are recent issues or collected editions that have come out. But down here, if we have at the title, it says series, and we can see all series. And so this will give me each of the series that they have available. All these different series are available. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have every single issue or volume, but you can still just click right on that, and it'll show you the options. It also will, I'm going to go back. For example, I want to mention, because I know this is one. This is one where they have a few different options. You can read the individual issues. So it's really helpful if you are interested in reading a graphic novel like this. It's really helpful. If you do want to do it by issues, they'll have it all for you really easy, letting you know this is issue number 1, and then this will be 2, and so on. You could click on see all issues to do that, or you could do the collected editions as well to read it in that way. Then back at the front, going to my borrows really quick, I did want to show just a couple features. First, I'm going to open up a graphic novel that I've got checked out. The default setting on the graphic novel, it will open like this. As you can see, I've been reading it a little bit, so it's saved my place and it's brought me back to the page I was on. The default option is this. You'll see this magnifying glass going across and showing me a zoomed in kind of circle image, which I can then see a little bit more of what's happening. However, if that way is not helpful for you, you can disable that. And I'm actually going to enable this because I'm going to be using the action view, and I would like to still see the whole page. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what that looks like. So for the action view, I'm going to click onto this top panel right there, and it automatically zooms in and shows me a more high definition scan of that panel so I can see the full art and I can read the text that's happening in that panel very easily. And now all I have to do is use my arrow keys and go to the next one, and it'll just go along like that, page or panel by panel, I should say. And then when it gets to a new page, it'll go out, show me what the whole page looks like before zooming in again. So I'm still able to see the entire page that I'm looking at, but then I can still zoom in very easily and go panel by panel, seeing the full art and the full text and getting the whole experience of the comic book. So that's what that looks like. Then if I were to go and I'm just going to open up a book, again, you'll see right here, it'll load up on the page that I was last on. So it's going to take it a second to think about where I was. And so we've got that. You can always use these bookmarks as well, just to be safe if that's something you want. I just want to quickly show a couple settings. There's obviously things like changing the font and the text size. There are the options here with if the white screen is too harsh, you can change to different colors. There are those options for you. Line spacing, margin size. There's the 2-column option where you can make it look like a standard book page. There's another option here as well, which I wanted to mention actually really quick. I'll show how it looks currently. I'm just pressing my arrow keys, going page by page. However, there is an option here at the bottom which says vertical scrolling, and it will scroll like a normal web page. So now, when I go through, as you can see, this is the start, and I am just scrolling through the book. Scrolling like that. When it comes to a new next chapter, it will tell me next chapter. And then I will be able to go to the next chapter and continue on from there. Right now I'm going to close the reader. I do want to show my favorites real quick just so we can see what that looks like. This is the favorites screen. It again separates everything into your categories. So we've got my audiobooks, all of my comics, which I do have quite a few, ebooks, and then lastly movies. Now I do use Hoopla for reading mostly, but especially for the comic books, and I use it a lot for my graphic novels. The series either that I'm planning on reading or series that I am currently reading, and I want to remember which issue I'm on. So for example, right here, when I start this one again, I need to start with volume 7. Really helps me keep track of what's the next title in the series for me that I need to read. You can always reference the history as well of the titles that you've checked out. You have the option as well anytime selecting hide or clearing it. No one else has access to this information other than you, both what's on your histories and your favorites. No one else is able to see this other than yourself. The last thing I'll mention is the kids section. If you just click on that, as you just saw, a lot of titles went away, and so now it is only showing me titles that are meant for children. And just taking that off will set everything back. This is a little overview of using Hoopla Digital. Hope you check it out and give one of these collections a shot. Happy watching and reading!